Welcome everyone to our monthly culinary medicine class. Lovely to have you here. For those of you that are new, you may notice that your microphones and your cameras have been turned off. So that's just so that we can put all of our attention towards Chef Alyssa and all the cooking that she's doing and sharing with us. So please engage through the chat, which I see most of you have discovered that chat feature. So keep it coming in there. We will look for any questions that you have as we go along. We'll kind of punt them over to Chef as she's cooking along as well. And by way of introduction, so you know who's here with you, we've got myself. I'm Heather Charles. I'm a wellness coach on the island of Maui. We've got Allison over there on the Big Island. And to round out, right, all the islands, we got our beautiful Chef Alyssa Moreau over there. So we are so lucky to have her here. Her willingness, we were just looking back, Alyssa, and we were determining it's been about 5 or 6 years that we've actually been doing this.
Wow.
More than
My
6 years.
goodness.
Yeah,
We've
Hey, we've
really
got a
are
bunch
so
of
lucky to
recipes
have
then,
you.
huh?
Yeah, we
we've got a
do.
lot of recipes, and she's been so dedicated and committed to sharing her knowledge of flavor and nutrition and wonderful, healthy
Wow.
um, meals with us. So, yeah, just a real treat to have her here.
Um,
And, as we kind of, show up, maybe for some of you, this is your first time here today, and you might be just thinking, okay, well, what's so special about this type of eating? Why should I even explore or consider this? And I would venture to say there's quite a bit to get excited about. Not only can a whole food plant-based diet significantly cut your carbon footprint in half, but it's also the only eating style scientifically proven to prevent and even reverse disease. So this is such as type 2 diabetes, coronary artery disease, right? The opportunity to prevent and reverse disease is just such a fantastic one to go by. So what is a whole food plant-based diet? Well, it really celebrates food in its most natural form, closest to the way it was grown. So thinking about fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, nuts and seeds, things that I always say our ancestors would recognize as food. And while we are celebrating that food, we're also minimizing maybe you hear the new term now, right? The ultra processed foods, the refined sugars, the white flour, and the animal derived foods. And we simplify all of this by this, phrase you see here on the screen that was coined by Michael Pollan. And it was eat food, not too much, and mostly plants. So Michael Pollan was an American author and a journalist. He's written extensively about food and health, and I'm so grateful he gave us this to go by to kind of demystify and deconstruct healthy eating. So our goal here today, you guys, is just to empower you with the knowledge and the skills. If you are curious to learn more beyond what we're doing here in this class today, I'm going to share some additional links in the chat that kind of complement what we're doing here. So one of them is a video series from Stanford School of Medicine, and this was put together back in 2016, and it's called Food for Health. And this is a series of 17 different videos. They're short, like 3 to 5 minutes, and it'll give you some practical skills as well as just information about why we might want to consider moving in this direction. The second one is offered by the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. They have a free library of video content on plant-based cooking. So it includes both like knife skills, basic cooking skills, recipes, and handouts. So again, these are just some additional resources to kind of deepen and expand your knowledge beyond the class here today. And we did include a few handouts with your confirmation email. So you got one of them here on the screen. Just to reference the healthy plate concept. So healthy plate means that we have a 9-inch plate and it's divided into these 3 different quadrants. And we're really dedicating half of that plate to vegetables, a fourth of it to a lean protein. In this class, we're focusing on plant-based proteins, such as cooked beans, lentils, which we're celebrating today, and tofu. And then we want the other fourth of our plate to be with whole grains. So the key takeaway from this, you guys, is if we're adding plants to the plate, we're also adding color. So when you look down at that plate, see that rainbow looking back at you, and you know you're moving in the right direction. And let's see, lastly, we're going to just take a moment here to bring up the recipes. Just a reminder, you do have access and links to these recipes in your confirmation email, and I'll show you where that's at. But Chef is going to briefly review the ingredients, and then I'll pull that down, and then we'll highlight Chef's cooking screen so you can follow along with her today. Lastly, just want to acknowledge that there's, a range of people attending tonight. For some of you, again, might be your very first time and you're just thinking, I don't know what I'm getting into. I just wanted to learn how to cook a vegetable. And for others of you, you may have been eating this way for a very long time. So we're just here to support you to move in the direction you want and choose at the pace that you choose. So recipes are also adaptable to your personal tastes and preferences. So if you want a suggestion with that, or there's something that you want to do differently, you can put that in the chat. We can get Chef Alyssa's comment on that as well. So just congratulate yourself for being here, and let's get started with the cooking.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
let's get the recipe up there. Yeah, there we go.
Vegan lentil sloppy joes. Okay, so we're going to start with this recipe, and I'm going to talk about how I like to soak all the lentils because it helps with the digestion. And if you can, either way, it's not necessary, but it definitely also speeds up the cooking time. So I have some cooked, we'll talk about that a little bit more too, some cooked brown, they're also known as green lentils. And we are going to saute some bell peppers and onions and garlic, add in some spices. Then we're going to put in our lentils, and we're going to add in some fire roasted tomatoes, which I just think really elevate the flavor. A little bit of vinegar. This is just so fun because sloppy joes kind of makes me think of childhood, right? And school kind cafeteria food. I don't know if you guys had sloppy joes, but I just love that flavor. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
very good.
So that's the first one we're going to make, and we'll talk about it a little bit more as we cook it.
All right, then the red lentil dal.
Then we're going to do a different red lentil dal than we did, I believe, one last year or the year before. This is a really simple one, but I think they can all be pretty simple. This one's kind of different because it has a cinnamon stick in it, so it adds a little bit of a different flavor. And again, it's just like sauteing the onions. This one has ginger, no garlic. And then we have spices, and we'll talk a little bit about alternative spices if it's not something that you have in your cupboard. And then we simmer that, and with red lentils, they cook really fast. And if you kind of use a whisk, it can make the dal creamy. The other option you can do is actually take out part of the dal and blend it, pulse blend it in a blender, food processor, or a stick blender. But I found, I did a test run last week, and I found just by using a whisk, it just got nice and creamy. And then just add a little bit of fresh lime and cilantro at the end, and it's just wonderful with some rice.
Oh, I'm hungry already, and you haven't even started cooking.
And then you guys got a bonus recipe, which we'll just kind of touch on today, but yeah, we'll pull it up.
So this one is a rainbow lentil soup, which we've done in the past. Just wanted to kind of show you in case you weren't available at that time that we had the class. It might still be on the YouTube channel, I'm not sure. But this is made with the brown, also known as green lentils, which are probably the most common lentils that most people know of. And the reason why it's called rainbow lentil soup is because it has just a wide variety of flavors. It's got carrots and tomatoes and celery, and it's got, I believe this one has sweet potato, or you can put sweet potato in it. That's another way that you can get that wonderful orange color. Plus it adds a really nice flavor profile. And then you end up with add in some greens at the end. So you just get so much color and nutrients, and it's just delicious. Nice hearty dish soup for winter weather.
You've hooked us in, Alyssa. You've hooked us in. We're
yes,
ready.
You've given us so much to look forward to. So I'm going to go ahead and pull down these recipes. You guys, thanks, Allison, for putting them into the chat. And we'll go ahead and highlight your cooking station and let you take it from there.
Okay.
And you guys can just chat in. Everyone can see that in the middle of your screen. As long as you guys can see it, we're all good to go. Go for it, Alyssa.
Okay. So I did a little combination of olive oil and avocado oil. And there are 3 small little black lentils in there from, from me showing you the black lentils before class. They're just going to add a little bit of flavor and texture in there. So the oil is heating, and I'm going to add in the onions that are chopped and some green bell pepper. You can use green or red bell pepper, whatever you desire. There's if you're on the island of Oahu, there is a service called FarmLink Hawaii, and FarmLink has all different kinds of produce and other products from Hawaii, just different Hawaii products. And they now have a brick and mortar store in town. So I try and go there as often as I can. So I got these really beautiful local green bell peppers. So that's why I'm putting the green bell peppers in today from FarmLink store called Ili Ili Market. So with onions, you just want to saute it till it gets a little translucent, soften. Sometimes it can start turning brown. So I'm just going to get the heat
Was
up
it
a little bit.
Ili Market you said? Someone had
Yeah,
asked
it's
Ili.
ILI, and I don't know what that stands for, but it's such a fun market. And they
Is it
have
the FarmLink Hawaii? I see there's
yeah.
Ho'ili Market
Oh, is it
on
really?
South
Okay.
Beretania
Thank you.
Street.
Yeah, okay, thank you. I
I'll
guess
put it
I
in the
missed
chat,
the
you guys.
whole.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I did the abbreviation. You can do it correctly.
And I don't have
And-
I don't know how to get all the fancy okinas and stuff like
Yeah.
that on my keyboard.
Yeah,
So just
right.
pretend that's there.
Thank you. So if you do live on this island, then it's right next door to that Tane vegan sushi, which is kind of popular if you're a vegetarian. Kind of a fancy sushi place right there. So you can use the same parking lot. But they have a big kitchen, so they make pizza there and sandwiches, and they now are making homemade soups and breads and pastries and cookies. So it's kind of a fun place to stop in. Okay, so this is starting to get a little soft. For the purposes of the class, I'm going to just kind of move things along here. I'm going to add in the spices. So I have chili powder, smoked paprika, and dry mustard.
Glad you're using dry mustard because I never know what else to use it with except for some of the cooking I do with the Chinese cooking. So I love it. Spices are our friend, and sometimes we just don't know where to use them.
Yeah, and sometimes if I don't have dry mustard, I use wet mustard, just like yellow or whatever you like. I have 3 kinds of mustards right now in the house. For me, dry mustard tends to lose its flavor really quickly. So I keep my mustard in the fridge or freezer, just so that it doesn't lose its personality.
Ooh, I like
I
that.
like that too. And it's so true for most of our spices, especially in the
Yeah.
humidity or humid weather.
Paprika,
Yeah,
keep my
keeping them in a
paprika
fridge or
in.
freezer can
Yeah, my
extend the
dill.
shelf life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so now this is getting nice and hot because of the burner. So I added in the garlic, but I want to make sure that the garlic doesn't burn. Okay, and then, so I'm going to add in the crushed tomatoes. Oh, yeah. So I want to show you, this is a fire roasted. It doesn't have to be, but it really adds a nice depth of flavor, that roasted tomato. Hand roasted tomato. Now it called for crushed, but I had bought diced. So I have diced fire roasted. This is the brand. Let's see. So if I do it upside down, is that right side up?
Other way, turn it around.
This way?
There you go. Perfect.
So
I love
this
that
is I think Safeway too, the store brands have fire roasted, but it's really nice. So I bought that because it was on sale.
Can I
Ooh,
ask
yours
you,
had
since
green
I've always,
chilies too.
yeah,
Yeah,
I was
it did.
some of
It
us are
did.
scared thinking fire roasted. Is it really spicy or is it just adds a nice
No,
little taste?
It's not, It's not spicy. What it is if you have the opportunity or to have like a gas stove, you know, when you roast, have you ever done that where you take bell peppers and you or eggplant and you do it over the fire and it gets kind of black and
Yes.
crispy and adds that it's kind of smoky flavor? This is what that is. It's just got like the tomatoes have gotten been kind of roasted. So there's a little bit of black spots in it, which just adds kind of an added dimension to the flavor. So it's
Okay, it's
no,
on my
not
list. It's
spicy.
on my list.
Yeah.
Thank you. I wasn't sure and I always get nervous. So
Yeah, and
perfect. Thank you.
when I used to do some cooking in the non-credit program at KCC, my supervisor, he would always say, "This is my favorite. I just love that fire roasted Muir Glen tomatoes." So he used to always promote it. It was like his thing that he would add into his dishes. So, okay, so moving forward, I have now what I did was I soaked all the lentils last night and I pressure cooked these right before class. It just took me under 10 minutes because the thing I find is when you pressure cook, I mean, when you soak the lentils, it speeds up the cooking time. So you can see, or I don't know if you can see very well, but they're really well cooked already and they had been starting to sprout and they've separated. So this will make for it to be really easy to digest because it's gone through that process
Yeah, and I'm
of
just gonna
splitting
say, that
open
the
the
pressure
little
cooker is
tails.
also the Instapot, right? Those
Yes,
Instapot's sort of the
yes,
newer version of that. So it's great to
yes,
know we could do that. 10 minutes compare it cuts it in half
yeah,
or even more.
yeah. And then I always like to add um, bay leaf to my beans if I'm cooking dry beans or lentils. Now I won't add it to the dal, but they do have in the Indian market, they do have like an Indian lentil. Or you could do curry leaves. But because I'm trying to keep things as simple as possible, I I mean you could add the lentil. It really doesn't add that much flavor, but it really helps with the digestion. So um, and I don't know if you ever have a friend who has a tree. These bay leaves are wonderful. I have a friend who gives me fresh bay leaves that she dries. Makes this wonderful.
Ooh, so lucky.
I know, I'm very lucky. Okay, so I've got the fire roasted tomatoes in. I've got the lentils. I've got 3 tablespoons of tomato paste and a little tip. I was looking at something today. I think it was, I don't know, New York Times. There was something of food about tomato paste. So because I knew I was using tomato paste today, I'm like, oh, what do they have to say? And they were showing, which I thought was really creative. They were showing recipes that on their website, their site that had a lot of tomato paste in it. So it was a way to like, if you open up a can of tomato paste, you could do these 2 recipes and use a can's worth. But which was fun. I actually saved one of the recipes. But I wanted to mention this, tomato paste freezes really well. So if you have extra tomato paste, you can just like take what's left over in your can, put it in a snack Ziploc bag and put it in the freezer. And then you can just break off what you want in the future and it won't go bad by it sitting there in a can in your fridge for
I
a
love
while.
that. Because how many of us have done that? We use our
Oh my
one
goodness, yeah,
tablespoon, put it in the
yeah.
fridge, leave it there a month and go, oh, I'm
Hmm.
never going to use this and throw it out and waste. I
Yeah,
love that tip.
right.
Yeah, and I like to
So
That's
measure
great.
it in those 1 tablespoon amounts and then kind of put it in
you
something
are
so I know that
so
it's
on
got a
it.
tablespoon because otherwise it's hard
Yes,
to measure once
Yeah.
it's frozen.
right,
But we had a
right.
question here, Chef Alyssa from Cheryl. She said, do we soak the lentils overnight and need to cook in an Instapot, or is it one or the other? Or what if we didn't do any of those things? Can we just put the lentils into the
Yes,
pot? It just takes longer to
yes,
cook?
you can. It'll just take a little longer to cook. And the kind of the two-step process with this one is if you cook it in liquid, the lentils, it'll make this sloppy Joe kind of like watery. Like if you did the lentils in the broth and you didn't drain it out, and you just cook the whole thing, it would make it more like a soup than like a sloppy Joe kind of a consistency. I don't know if that's answering your question.
I think
Do you
it's
think?
yeah, like you don't have to soak the lentils overnight. Like you know how with
No.
some beans you have to soak them. I think that's the
Mm-mm,
joy of lentils. You just I mean rinsing them is key, right? But
you
you don't
don't.
need to soak lentils. Or the Instant Pot was just the example of how you could, if you have one, they cook quicker. It's like a pressure cooker, but you can cook
Hmm.
them on the stove, right? You can cook them any way you want. It was just a tip.
Yes, yes. And it, again, it just would take a little longer, but you'll still get the end result. So I wanted to just finish up with what I'm adding. So I've got half a cup of broth. So along that lines that we were talking about the tomato paste, you can also, like I opened up a new, you can either use broth cubes, that you can dilute, or you can use a box broth. Um, there was the just something I learned during the holidays. Boy, a lot of things go on sale during the holidays because I think people are cooking more than usual. But the boxes of vegetable broth were great prices, almost $2 off. So I bought a bunch of boxes of vegetable broth. Um, so keep an eye out. But I date my container because that's one of the things that I lose track of or have in the past is you open up these broths, boxes of broths, and you put it in the fridge and then you have no clue. Like, I know that's been there a long time, but I don't know how long that's been there. Should I reuse it? Should I not reuse it? So I don't know if that's an issue, but that's something that I've been very good at doing in the past. So if you can date it, or you can probably, maybe Heather's gonna say that and this is a good tip. I don't do it though. I mean, I have, but very rarely, is you could pour it in ice cube trays and freeze it and then pop it into a Ziploc bag. And then you have portioned out uh, broth.
I
You
have
do that,
not gotten
Heather?
that. I have not gotten that fancy, but I do the
Oh,
dating because I had the same issue as you where I'd open it up, use some, and
yeah,
then I
I
didn't know how long
know.
it was in there. So, and I
Yeah,
also follow in your footsteps with when things that I use frequently go on sale, because a lot of them have a shelf life of a year or more, I
right?
just bulk up on it because I know
Uh-huh.
where it's going to save me $2 down the road. So,
Right.
yeah, good tips. Good
I
tips.
was amazed because broth has gotten really expensive this past year. So just finishing up, I've got a little bit of apple cider vinegar and a little bit of brown sugar. You could do brown sugar or maple syrup just to give it that kind of vinegar, sweet, sour kind of a balance. Some salt and pepper. And then we're just going to cook this down till it gets nice and stew-like. So what I'm going to do, because we want to keep moving along, I'm going to put this on my stove in the kitchen, and we're going to work on making the red lentil dal next. Okay? Anybody have any questions before I move this?
Somebody said some of the broths have a lot of sodium. Is there one in particular that's better?
Let me double check. Very good
Yeah.
question.
And I
Why
think
don't
just
I
looking
need?
at the labels,
I
it's
was just
good.
going to
Yes,
There's
say the
yes,
same
low
thing.
yeah.
sodium. Choosing the low sodium option when that's available is another great way to do that. But I'll let you guys share
Yeah.
tips too.
And I want you to add some of the great, I think you should pull out some of our interesting facts about lentils, but I do want to say one thing, like we often get bogged down thinking we can't cook lentils or beans because it takes too long. And I think this is what Alyssa is showing you is it can be done so quickly, even if you don't have a pressure cooker or Instapot. And sometimes you can get lentils cooked as well, but don't get scared of this idea that I don't have time to make this. It's just so much easier now. All
Yeah,
right,
like right
Heather.
there, we can
Yeah.
see her opened
Yep.
opened
Yeah,
226.
Yeah.
So that's a good
yeah,
example
I
of your
know.
system.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, so this is just Safeways. Again, it was like $2.99 and I was so excited. But one of the things I also do, which I did not do today because of I really like a lot of flavor in this sloppy joes, is if I'm making like a soup, I don't always use like if a soup recipe calls for a cup of broth or 2 cups of broth, I dilute it because I don't really want a strong brothy flavor. I want some flavor, but these broths can be strong. And it depends upon the brand too. But this one has 570 milligrams for 1 cup.
Okay. Can you turn
So
it so I can show the brand
yes,
again? Turn it one more time for
sorry,
me.
this is
No,
just
that's
the O
okay.
brand.
Yep.
Does that work?
Oh, no,
that what
hang
you
on.
need?
It's my thing's stuck, frozen. That's okay. You guys have it. Sorry, it wants to do just the nutritional facts. I'll put that on.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
So we're
And
going to move on to the
Yep.
dal. So I have red lentils. And we're going to showcase all the lentils after I get this one started. So I have onions, cilantro, tomatoes, a nice lime, salt, and then our spices. And we're going to talk about that as well. Okay.
Look at all that beautiful, colorful food.
Yeah. So I've got this heating up. So I'm going to add a little bit of oil so I can saute my onions. Avocado oil. I tend to use it. It's good with high heat. And the price point is pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to add in my onions. Up. And what I've got for the spices is cumin, turmeric, and mustard seeds. There's two kinds of mustard seeds. There's black and brown. You don't want there's also like the pickling kind of mustard seeds, which are more yellow and yellowish. But black and brown are the ones that they use in like Indian cooking. I tend to like to buy my spices in bulk at the health markets. And I live on Oahu, so I go to Down to Earth. Yep, just go to Down to Earth now. There's no other markets that have bulk spices, but I just find that really helps with keeping them fresh if you have that option. Keeping them fresh, buying what you need so they don't, again, go bad, because how often does someone use mustard seeds? I
Right.
probably use them more than most people, unless you cook Indian food on a regular basis.
We have a
Uh,
quick question for you, Chef.
yes,
Can you cook with no oil this? How would you do it if you didn't
yes, you
want to put
can.
oil?
I would just put everything in. Well, you can actually braise it, the onions and spices with a little bit of water or broth. And then add in the rest of the ingredients and because this calls for 6 cups of water. So then I would do a little bit of water or broth. I'll just do it right now. So you would just, instead of, it's probably gonna, that's probably gonna, but instead of adding the oil, you would just add a little bit of water in the bottom of your pan. And then you would add in your ginger, and spices. That I saved some time. So I've got turmeric, I've got cumin and mustard seed. And if for some reason that's too much to buy, you could just use curry powder. So I just want to say that you can make this really simple and just add in a teaspoon and a half of curry powder. Okay. And if
Of
you're
all the
doing water,
options.
yeah, other options. If you're doing water, this is kind of like you would add more water as you go along. Just let it cook, kind of heat up the spices, cook the onions. So this is a way that you would do it. Okay. So at this point, then you're going to add in tomatoes, chopped tomatoes. You cook those for a few minutes. Now lentils, I did soak these overnight. One of the things that lentils do when they soak, they like double in size. So this was a half, 1.5 cups of red lentils, and it is expanded. I did not measure what that is, but it's way more than one and a
I
half
guess
cups.
that's a good question. Like, you don't have to soak your lentils, but do
Yeah.
you, like, if you have lentils and if you have the time, do you normally soak all different kinds of lentils overnight, or do
Well,
you do you choose with certain colored ones?
they across the board, I have read that you don't need to soak lentils, but I have also read for people, because I tend to cook for people who've got health issues, it really helps with lentils and grains to soak for your digestion. So a lot of people who have got health issues have digestive issues. So it's kind of something that I try and be mindful of for what I'm doing,
Great
for
tip.
others.
Yeah, good tip.
Yeah, yeah. So if that's one of you out there, then that might be just an extra step you might want to do. Okay, so now I'm going to add my lentils.
And red lentils really do. I mean, I think that if you're new to lentils, it's such a nice one because it has such a different consistency than a bean. It really
Creamy,
does. Yeah,
yeah.
so creamy.
It's delicious. So this is where I'm going to add my cinnamon stick. And when you're cooking beans and lentils, most recipes I see is to add the salt at the end because salt can harden the skin of lentils and beans, dried lentils and beans, and slow the cooking process. So that's one of the reasons you add it at the end. And at the end too, you add, whatever the fresh herbs are because, then their flavors more prominent. And same with, if you're adding a squirt of lemon and lime, that's when you want to add it into. Oh, what did I just do? Okay, so I'm just adding in my 6 cups of liquid.
Honestly, this is one of those things that taste delicious now and just taste better as the days go
Oh,
by. Just
yeah,
like,
yeah. And it's so interesting because you think, oh, that's a lot of liquid. But when it cooks down, um, it makes it's still thicker than a soup. One of the things that it can do though is if overnight, this one can get really thick. So then you can add a little more liquid. If you have leftovers, you can add a little more liquid to thin it out a bit. Just a little tip in case I forget to say that later. Okay, so now I'm gonna cover this. We'll bring it to a boil and then just cook it on the stove. So if anybody has any questions, let me know.
yeah.
All right, we'll wait for that. And I know she's going to come back and talk a little bit about lentils. So in preparation for that, should I
Yeah,
share a
let's
few
give,
tips, Allison? Like,
yes.
what is the
Do,
benefit of these things?
I need them for my book report. Come on, let's hear it.
Yes, of
Yeah.
course. Well, I mean, first of all, lentils are very cost effective, right? We can buy them in bulk. They're easy to store in your pantry in a cool, dark location. They're good to keep in an airtight container for about a year. Cooked lentils can even be frozen and used within 3 months or in the fridge for up to a week. Lentils are also high in fiber, you guys. 32% of your daily fiber needs can happen in a serving of lentils, as well as being high in protein. So half a cup of lentils, 9 to 12 grams of protein. So this is a powerhouse, right, of food for us. Fiber can also help to lower blood cholesterol, protects against disease. They are naturally gluten-free, so if that's a concern for you, this is a great choice. Their low glycemic index, meaning how they interact with our body, makes it suitable for diabetics and for diabetic diets. They also are very high in potassium. So, and folate and iron, right? I could go on and on and on, but these things are just so good for us. And as Allison, you saw at the beginning, we're reading off to us at the beginning of class, right? They have been, a staple of food throughout history, right?
They really have.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to put in the chat too, there's another great website called lentils.org. So another place where you can continue to learn about these wonderful lentils and all the different recipes and varieties and cooking times and the benefits that they have for us.
I
But
mean,
I know Chef
it
Alyssa is going to go over it more.
she
Yeah.
is. She's going to
Yeah,
show us some more,
I,
which I can't wait to see them. Don't burn yourself.
I know. I'm just
I don't want to make
moving
sure you
this.
don't burn
This
yourself.
is
Yeah, but
that
where do you
time
get
where I
protein and fiber? Such a great source, all in one little
cool.
bean. So,
Yep. One little bean.
yeah.
It's going in the sink. All right. Okay.
Oh, we
So
did
I'm
have one question come up before you launch into that. So Cheryl also asked, could you do half water and half broth for your
yes,
dal recipe? I'm
yes,
guessing so.
you
Yeah,
could.
okay. Yeah.
Sure. Okay, so we're going to then just show all the different beautiful lentils
The
that are out
color of
there
the
and talk a
rainbow
little
here.
bit
Here
about
we
them. Yeah,
go.
let's see. So I can pop this up a little higher. Would that help?
Perfect.
Okay,
Looks great.
so what we've got here is, and I'm going to showcase, I think we've got time. These are called French lentils, also Puy lentils. And what's fun about these, they're a little mottled. I don't know if that's, if you can see it. Little specks are on them, but there's also some that are just plain kind of a brown green color. They're really beautiful lentils. And what's nice about them is when you cook them, they retain a firm texture. So this is one of the lentils they'll do when you have a lentil salad recipe because it doesn't break down and turn to mush. So we've got the French lentils. These are the red lentils. They actually come in two different sizes. These are kind of the small ones. They're also known as Masoor. I don't know how to pronounce that. Masoor lentils. There's also kind of, they look just the same, but bigger, larger diameter lentil. You can interchange them in the recipes. I just see them, I think they, depending upon what the stores can get, they have the two different shapes. These ones cook down, they're called red lentils, but they cook down to kind of a pale yellow color. I don't know how to describe that, but it's not bright orange once it cooks down. And this, you don't see this too much in the stores, but this I buy from that Palusi Farms. And this is the red lentils with their skin on. And I just love this lentil because it kind of holds its shape. Not to the same way that the Puy does, but it just has kind of a nice texture when you're making kind of a lentil stew. I use this for a savory stew. Kind of like that rainbow lentil soup. I make a stew with a whole bunch of chunky vegetables, and I like to use this kind of with a tomato base. So these are the red lentils with the skin on. And these are yellow lentils. You can make dal with these. They're actually, maybe they're not lentils. They're called split mung. So we were talking about this before class, right? Mung beans, yellow lentils. I'm not sure what it falls into the category, but you can make dals with this. And I tend to make dals with these two together because this one kind of makes a creamy, I kind of associate it with almost like a, I'm going to say eggy, but almost like an egg yolk kind of a flavor. Since I'm a vegetarian, I think that is appealing. It kind of has this creamy flavor. Red lentils aren't like really creamy. Would you agree with that, Allison and Heather?
Yeah.
They cream down, but they're not like a rich, creamy, right? They're more light.
They break down a little bit differently.
They kind of have the texture of oatmeal and hold their, I think what's nice is they hold their shape well. So when you add water the next night, you still have that great stew, but it keeps their shape, the red lentils, a little better.
Yeah, and depends upon if you like this one, I'm going to like kind of use a whisk to kind of cream it down a bit. But I really like adding a little bit of this yellow just because it adds a little, richness to it. So there's those. And then this is like the traditional brown green lentil that you use in lentil soup. Make a lentil loaf that we did in our sloppy joes. And then we have that barbecue eggplant recipe that we haven't done in a long time, but you would use this.
I love that one too.
Yeah, I do too. And then lastly, these are the little beluga caviar lentils that are so cute, and those ones you can use these in a, sorry. Do you hear that, or is it just me?
It passed on by.
Oh my goodness.
Mhm.
Yeah. These can hold their shape. They take a little, for some reason to me, these take a little while longer to cook. I've used them in a lentil salad. They can also be in like something that's a dal that's called dal makhani, which is a northern Indian district, Punjab, that they have. They make a dal out of this. It's really nice. So these are just some fun things that you can find and use and just show the type of variety that's out there for lentils. I'm gonna go check my soup. I'll be right back.
I love this. We have the rainbow just in our color of our lentils and all the multiple purposes that they use. It's really fun to experiment with them. I like those little black beluga lentils. I have a great salad I make with that, and it just looks
You
so
do?
exotic when you
Okay,
make it. Yeah, it's
okay.
fun.
And
So,
I think, oh, go ahead.
oh,
Yeah.
I was just
No,
curious what kind of a salad you make with it. How do you do that?
Oh, I'd have to pull up the red. It's a Moroccan salad. I think it's got like dried apricots in it and stuff like that, and like an
Oh,
orange citrus dressing. It's really, yeah,
oh,
a
wow.
really different
Okay.
direction. Hmm.
Well, thank you, because I have not used them a lot, so I'd like to expand my horizons also because I have a bag of it at home. What to do? So, I just reduced the dal recipe. I mean, it was boiling. It's got about 13 minutes more. So is it okay to move on to this recipe that
yes.
we were
Yeah,
just,
I think
this is kind
so.
of like
Yeah.
a surprise that we were thinking of doing.
Yes,
And
you
if there's
guys got a
anybody has
bonus.
questions,
Yeah,
then
you got
feel
a
free to put in
bonus
your questions.
recipe in there, and then Chef is giving you a surprise extra salad recipe with those green
Yeah,
French lentils. So today
right.
you get some extra bonuses.
Yeah. So I just wanted to show, that you don't always have to follow a recipe. You can just kind of work with what you've got in the fridge. So I just cooked up the French lentils, and I should probably get a bigger, you can see they kind of hold their shape. Oh, and I did soak these last night too. So the skins are popping off. It's starting to sprout. Kind of hard to see, but they're a little tails coming out, which means they're starting to sprout, which also makes it, you can absorb the nutrients more. I'm going to get a bigger bowl and then just show you how I create a salad with what I have in the fridge.
And I think one thing that's nice is often when you go to these health food stores too, they have all of these in bulk, so you don't have to get a lot. You try a little and have it and have them around and just experiment and have fun.
Which one you like.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I've got just the basic of lentils. And what I did was, I mean, if you're doing this, I mean, I didn't do it today, but if you are making, cooking some lentils, and this is kind of the concept of what you're going to make a salad, I would pour while it's hot, pour the vinaigrette over the lentils so it will absorb in. That's just, or some of it, just so that they will get some flavor while they're still warm. So what I've got here is in my fridge today. I kind of went a Mediterranean route. So I've got cherry tomatoes, I've got arugula, I've got green onions, I have capers and Kalamata olives. So, and then I made a vinaigrette um, with olive oil, mustard, Bragg's, balsamic, garlic, salt and pepper, and just a little bit of maple to balance out the vinegar and mustard. And then, you could serve this on a bed of lettuce. It would be delicious. And then, but whatever you have in your fridge. I just am not really well stocked right now, in the sense that, uh, I don't have things like zucchini and, I don't know, like some things that, maybe I would put in, but this is kind of fun. If you eat dairy, you could add some feta cheese, you could add some lemon juice. And the other way you could do it too is you could saute a whole bunch of vegetables, like, you could saute onions and bell peppers and spinach and mushrooms, and then add that in and have like a warm lentil salad. That's another fun way you could do it. So I'm
And I
going to
think you
add in,
said, Alyssa, we're going to have this salad dressing in next month's class, right?
yes,
Yes,
Want
a
to
yes,
little
check it? Okay, I'll
teaser.
put that in there.
yeah,
It's a little teaser.
right,
So if you
yeah.
want that recipe, come back next month.
So I'm just going to plop it all in. I had a big caper jar from Costco, so I reduced it
Yeah.
to this small little jar. So I've
But
got
you,
some
I think
capers.
this is what I love. You just look in your fridge, and sometimes when we look and just see one celery or a little bit of this, we don't know what to do with it. And it's such a
Yeah,
great way to use it.
yeah. And you could add some chopped nuts or pumpkin seeds or whatever, if you want some crunch at the end or just top it at the end. I'm just going to start with, I don't know if I need all of it.
That looks delicious. That dressing looks
Doesn't it? I
delicious.
know. And I think that's a great tip. Sometimes people used to laugh and make fun of me and say, Alison, you want a little salad with your dressing because I like so much. You can't take it off, but you can always add it in. So
Yeah,
starting with less and then adding is the way to
right.
go.
And just taste it. But, it's also a visual, like how well
Hmm.
is everything coated? And this looks pretty well coated. So
Beautiful.
and you can before serving. So you can chill it, the flavors can absorb. And then before serving, you can drizzle a little bit more on. And then if you're gonna put something crunchy, some nuts or seeds or sunflower seeds or something on the top, wait until you serve it, because then you don't want them to get soft, with the dressing and lose their crunch. So just wanted to show you, this is a nice, simple way that you can cook up some lentils. One of the other things that I do is if I have cooked up too much lentils, or with the thought that, I'm cooking up some lentils, I might as well cook up extra, kind of like, Heather, how you always talk about doubling the tofu patty recipe. You could cook up double the amount of lentils, especially if you're using an instant pot or you have a good sized pot or a pressure cooker, and then freeze half, drain it, put it in a Ziploc bag and freeze it. And then you've got another, potential meal waiting for you. You just defrost that and do something like this. You have a vinaigrette, you can keep double the vinaigrette recipe, and then you can, make something quick and easy on one of those weeknights that you don't have a lot of time.
Love those tips. And I love that this can be an easy meal prep for the week. So maybe you
Yeah.
just don't put the dressing on it right away,
Yes.
or maybe just put a little bit on the initial while the
Yeah.
lentils are
Just to,
warm.
right.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then kind of keep it segmented. And then when, portion it out they'll be good in the fridge for at least 3, 4 days, I believe. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So you could, and again, like I said, you can just whatever you got. But this is what I had. I was at Down to Earth and their arugula was just gorgeous. It was from Ma'o. I gotta buy that. So there you go. So just wanted to give you a little bit of inspiration. Doesn't have to be a recipe every time. Just, kind of go with it, taste and go with the flow.
I love it for the newer cooks like, Heather, these guys are pros, but you're challenging us to just have fun and go and try it. I mean, it tastes better with time. And I've always been so scared to just go, well, what am I going to do with that? I'm not always the chef in the house, but you make something and it tastes good and you feel more confident. So keep doing it. And what I love about this as well is sometimes when we think of having more salad and then we don't know what to put on our salad, just adding some beans, I love how you said nuts, seeds, things that you can just try, textures, tastes, colors. Enjoy. It's a great
Right.
process.
Add some crunch. So I'm just going
Yeah.
to show you what the sloppy joes look like. And because they're nice and thick right now.
Oh, we're getting hungry. We want
I
some
know.
dinner. I know. I'm like, we got all these great
We'll be right over knocking
ideas.
on your door.
Yeah.
So this, at the very end too, it's a little, that's one of the things I wanted to share with you. Smoked paprika can be spicy or not. And I think the smoked paprika I put in this one's a little spicy because I tasted it and I'm like, huh, that's got a kick. But it's a good kick. I mean, but it's also good to know if you're not a person that likes spicy food, or check your paprika, have a little taste. And because one of the things you can do is you can add, at the end, you can add a little kick of hot sauce if you don't, if you want. You can do jalapenos. I really love something like this with like coleslaw. I tend to, you could eat it on a bun. You can make it a little more sweet. You can make it a little more, this pretty tomato, you got a good amount of tomato, but you can add a little more vinegar if you want it a little bit, more punch that way. Or you can make it a little sweet. You can add, a little bit more maple syrup or, so you can, sometimes I add more mustard. So depending upon your flavor profile, what you like, you can kind of tweak it at this point. And you can cook it down so it's a little more drier. So if you are putting it on a bun, it depends. If you're not putting on a bun, you might not want as much liquid. Yeah. So it's just kind of these kind of things to think about when you're making this dish. And if you're just having it with rice, or you're just presenting it, it's really nice with the, chopped parsley or something green, green onions, parsley, make it pretty. That's what I would do. So
Delicious. And remember, you
yeah.
had that fire roasted tomatoes with the green chili, so that might have added a little spice in there.
Yeah, the green
Maybe
chili.
it
Yeah.
Yeah,
did.
Heather,
Do you think
good
the green
catch.
chili? I'll have to taste the green chilies and see, and I'll give you feedback. Okay, so I'm
But I
gonna
think,
now
yeah,
move.
to the
Yeah,
next one. I think
yeah,
that's
I'll
the
move.
nice part of it too. Play with your flavors, but also, know your crowd. If you're feeding kids, you might change the profile of it a little. If you got a group of friends that like the spice, add a little bit more of that smoky paprika.
Yep.
Just, yeah,
Love that one
everyone
for your
can enjoy
next
it.
gathering, right?
Hmm.
Sloppy Joes, I feel
Yes.
like that's like such a, oh, we're having a family get together or doing
Mhm.
something, and you just bring a little different version. It'd be something to talk about.
Yeah. This one needs a little bit more time, but you can see how it's coming along. And this is what I do. I just keep whisking it to get it to be creamy. But I think it probably needs about 10 more minutes. But
But I
what I'll
love
do
that
just,
creamy
yeah,
without the cream, and that's sometimes
yeah,
people think you're missing it and it looks just
hmm
rich and
right.
luxurious.
Just a little bit thicker if you want it. It looks like the lentils are cooking down. And then, so what I'll do is I'll just add in the salt, just because we're in class. The cilantro, probably save a little bit for pretty at the top end. And then what you do is you just squirt in lime to taste. Could be a lemon if you don't have a lime. So it's nice and colorful too. And then you take out the cinnamon stick before you serve it. And I really like this with like basmati rice. So you can
Nice.
see it's a nice flavorful, excuse me, colorful and flavorful dish. Yeah.
I bet that cinnamon stick, I haven't tried that before. I bet that would add a nice depth of flavor in
It
there.
really
Love, yeah,
does.
the
It
color.
really does. So I'm going to put this back on and let it continue to do its thing. But I wanted to kind of show you that what it visually
Beautiful.
looks like at the end.
I have a
Yeah.
question for you. With
Yes.
cinnamon stick, if I was had all my leftovers and I let everything cool and I'm putting it in the refrigerator, do you keep the cinnamon stick in there? Does that and then take it out later? Can you just
You
do you take
could.
it out
Yeah.
before? How would yeah.
It's you could do either way, really. If you really like cinnamon flavor, it's just going to add more cinnamon flavor. It's not going to be overwhelming, but it will give a little
A little
bit
bit
more
more.
cinnamon flavor. So,
Great.
Yeah.
some people like cinnamon more than others, I'll probably leave it in,
Yep.
and just let it continue doing its thing, uh,
Oh, all these
before I
recipes are
pass it on.
so comforting, satiating,
Hmm.
warming. So many
Yeah,
times we think
yeah.
about healthy eating and it's all like raw foods, cold foods, but this is
Hmm.
such a good reminder that, right, they
Yeah,
can be nurturing and
yeah.
healing and warming at the same time.
It's a good time to have a lentil class, right? With
Yeah.
this weather.
And I think what's lovely is less than an hour, you've created three different amazing meals with three different, very different textures, right? The
Yeah,
sloppy joes is something that's the dal, the stew, the salad. So that's what's
yeah,
really fun with lentils is that
yeah.
they really have, it's not just one type of way of eating it. So wow, that's
Hmm.
beautiful.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's just, and then, it's just how you top it off. Like, with the sloppy joes, you could do some pickled red onions or jalapenos or, again, sliced
Mm.
cabbage. You could have a lot of fun, as you're building either a roll, a big, or just as a side dish, but just adding some color and crunch to that as well.
Great. While we're kind of getting towards the end of class, any
Yeah.
questions for our chef? You guys throw those questions in the chat if you have any questions about the lentils or anything that she did. And, have some fun. Try that bonus recipe, the rainbow lentil
Lentil
soup.
soup. Yeah.
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 Yes.
That's a nice one.
Thanks for
Yeah.
the extra recipe.
Yeah.
We,
That,
oh, there you go.
and you can freeze that one well.
Mhm.
Just don't put in the greens at the end if you're gonna, freeze or, if you're gonna use, freeze half of it, separate it and then add the greens to the ones you're gonna cook and then freeze the other. Yeah,
Awesome.
it's nice to add that.
So inspirational. And I'm just going to wrap up with a little bit of tidbits to keep us going. One of which is, you guys, we have this much fun every month. So you can come join us next month as well. Whoops, I went too far fast. Just a reminder, next month it's on the third Thursday of the month instead of the fourth, because the fourth on the is the Prince Kuhio holiday. So we're going to be meeting on March 19th next month from 5 to 6 p.m. So we hope that you'll join us back next month and tell us how you enjoyed the recipes. And in addition, here are all of the classes we have for the remainder of the year. So we again have it every month except for the month of December. So next class is Mediterranean meals. Like I said, she's going to share that amazing salad dressing recipe that she made today, as well as some other fantastic ones. But pick and choose the ones that are most relevant to you, and we'll look forward to seeing you. And we have a lot of other classes as well. We hope you'll check out if you're a Kaiser Permanente member and you're curious to learn more about plant-based eating. Our registered dietitians teach a class called Viva Veggies, which is an introduction to a plant-strong diet. So they'll give you all the ins and outs of the why and the how we might do this and all the benefits there are for our body. So we also have classes for specific conditions. If you're working to manage diabetes or prediabetes or heart health, right? We got something for everybody. These are just one-time classes. They are all offered virtually. And if you would just like some support with implementing what you're learning today, partner with a wellness coach. Allison and I are also both wellness coaches. We would love to work one-on-one with you, set some goals, check back with you, have some added accountability, and get you actually cooking, right? We don't want to just show up to the class and get inspired. We want to actually get in our kitchens, test out the recipes, have fun with it, come back and create our community. So these are all free services for our Kaiser Permanente members. So again, we look forward to seeing you. And I think I covered everything else. And unless you have anything else you want to add in.
No, but Chef, you got us excited, and we're
Oh,
ready to try these recipes, and you're getting lots of thank yous and a lot of inspiration. So thank you for that.
oh, you're welcome. I think, the one thing I just want to add is, when you see recipes and you follow along, I always like to say adjust the because everybody's got different taste profile. You might want a spicy, more lime, more, the vinegar, little tweak of sweet. So it's always kind of maybe more just a little bit of salt or umami. So just, give it a little taste before you're actually finished. And then you can make it the way you like.
I love that. I love that we can personalize it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, lots of appreciation coming in through the chat. And of course, we appreciate you as well, Chef Alyssa.
Thank
So
you.
inspiring, so delicious. And one of these days we'll be able to reach through the screen and be able to join you. But we're grateful we got to see you this past
Yeah.
week and enjoy
Yes.
some of your cooking. So,
Yeah.
Thanks you all. Thanks for
Delightful.
joining us. We so look forward to seeing you. We get to see you in 3 weeks instead of 4, so we get
yeah.
that extra bonus. So don't forget next month, it's March, what was it, 18th or 19th? I had it
19th,
in the
19th.
19th.
March
Yeah.
March
19th. And I
19th.
should put that in the
Yeah.
chat
Yeah,
as
I put it
well.
in the chat, but I
Oh,
forgot
you did?
already. You can
Okay.
too remind us. So,
Thank you.
We're so
yeah.
distracted by the food.
Exactly. I'm looking at that salad. I'm like, that looks so good in the blue
Yeah.
bowl. I'm all
I
in.
know.
Aw, thanks, Chef Alyssa.
Okay,
Have a
take
great
care.
evening, everyone.
You
Happy
too.
cooking to
Take care,
everyone.
everyone. Yeah.
Okay,
Bye.
See you soon.
bye-bye. Bye.
Aloha.
Aloha.